I'm gonna say something that you're probably gonna tell me I'm crazy. Film design is not a luxury. Film design is a necessity to your story. The luxury is having somebody else take it over. My name is Sarah Kogan. I am a designer and visual producer for film and television, and I champion filmmakers by helping them craft cinematic cohesion, which is the alignment of their film's visuals to their script. Let me share a little fun fact that all my friends know about me. I actually trained horses growing up and learned how to vault, which is to stand on a horse while it's moving. So I can still vividly remember where I was when I did that, and part of that was for safety and part of it was because it's cool. All right, so let's get into what we're going to talk about today, because that is why we are here. Why is film design a necessity and not just something that we then add on after the fact? Let's get into that. In the filmmaking process, design actually sets the context for our stories. It helps us understand who the characters are and how they relate to the world around them, be that other characters or literally the physical world around them, because context sets up meaning. Now, you may not be believing me on this, and many filmmakers, when I say this, don't believe me. So let's actually look at an example. You can take this scene here. Interior, Joe's apartment, night. Joe sits on the couch watching TV. There's a knock at the door. Hey, let me in. And there's our scene. So what do we know about the world? What do we know about the scene in general, right? We're in Joe's apartment. That's our scene. We know there's a couch in the apartment, and we know there's a TV and a door somewhere in relationship to that couch. But that's all we know about it, right? There's no other descriptive information, because that's what happens in scripts. They leave most of the descriptions of the spaces to the filmmakers that are going to then bring the film to life. So we don't know what this world could be. Let's just start with the apartment, right? It could be this apartment. It could be this apartment. And it could be either of these apartments. So which apartment is Joe's apartment? And then while we're at it, I mean, it's J-O, so that could be short for Yosef, so it could be this guy. It could be just short for Joseph, this guy. Or it could be short for Josephine or Josie, which could be this lady. Which one of these three people is our Joe? Now, based on the space and based on the person, the context of our scene suddenly begins to shift. If you put this woman in this apartment, you're like, something's not right. These two don't align with our prejudgments, right? Our expectations of a woman dressed like this versus our expectations of a house that looks like this, right? There's something up, right? We're seeing some sort of incongruency that changes the context. The story is still the same. Joe is sitting on her couch watching TV when there's a knock at the door, right? That's the scene. It's still the same scene. It's the same scene when we put her in this apartment. However, everything feels as if it's incongruence, right? They align. She's dressed poshly, this apartment's posh, it makes sense. But if we were to reverse that and kind of put this guy, if this is our Joe, into this apartment, right, we can see there's something not quite right. I actually really love this example because it always makes me think of Anthony Carrigan in Barry, his character, this like mobster type guy in this like very bright, friendly, happy apartment. They don't quite go, right? There's something a little off about that, or kind of an interesting character dynamic. So we can utilize design in that way to set these dynamics up that help us tell our story. And when we understand what design can do, we then can understand how to create and craft those moments for every scene and every character to create worlds that are dynamic and engaging, like we see with many of our favorite filmmakers. Now, if you're going, I'd love to learn more about how to use design and how to kind of create this type of context, I have a workshop on that. It's called From Text to Moving Images. It's below. Come check it out. I'd love to see you there. There's one more thing about film design and context that you should know and understand, because this actually has a lot to do with our creative process when we're collaborating with our fellow filmmakers. We only visualize what's been given to us. So what that means is when we're telling a story, we're only truly visualizing the couch. We're visualizing the TV, right? We're visualizing the door, because these are pieces that are called out in our scene. Well, the rest of the apartment is open to interpretation. Well, and even those pieces are open to interpretation because when we visualize, we utilize our previous experiences to inform what those pieces might be. So I grew up with a white leather couch. So maybe that's what I visualized it as, is this kind of creamy white leather couch. Maybe you visualize the couch as florals, right? As a kind of fun floral brocade or a plaid. When we go into a meeting, how you see it versus how I see it is going to be very different, or maybe not as different as very. It could be, we could be spun on and in sync, but the odds are there will be things that are different or that we're not clearly understanding from one another. And so being able to utilize visual aids to communicate to one another about what this world is will be so important in making sure that we set the right context for our stories and the right context for our films. Quick little recap on this video. Film design sets the context of your film. And film design isn't a luxury, it's actually a necessity. Hey, if this video is helpful, do me 2 favors. 1, subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, also like it. And then you'll get more of this really awesome information, which I'm so excited to share with you because I am a design nerd. Keep filming your stories and shooting your dreams. I'll see you next time.